Duplo Expresso.
Hi, my name is Wellington Calasans and this is Duplo Expresso, your weekly news program about the political and democratic situation in Brazil. I am talking from Stockholm, Sweden, and my colleague and co-host Romulus is in Bern, Switzerland.
Hello, Wellington. Hello, viewers. It's great to have you back here for another edition of Duplo Expresso. This week, I'd like to draw our viewers' attention to the fiasco that took place in Caracas, the capital of Venezuela. US intelligence was fooled yet again by the combined efforts of both Russia and Venezuela, of course. We here on Duplo Expresso entertained the idea since last Tuesday, the day that yet another failed coup attempt took place in Caracas, that perhaps this time around Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro might have been following in the footsteps of Turkish President Recep Erdogan. More precisely, what Erdogan did in 2016, when he was the one targeted by another failed coup attempt sponsored by the West. Erdogan survived that with Russian assistance, and so did Maduro this week. The following day, we got confirmation that the comparison we drew was spot on. Like Erdogan, Maduro was fully aware of the conspiracy, knew it did not stand a chance, and so willingly let it happen. Maybe he might have gone even further and secretly, in a false flag infiltration and sting operation, fed counter-information to local conspirators, assuring them that many high-ranking Venezuelan officers and leaders in parliament, the judiciary, and the military would betray the head of state, Nicolás Maduro, and join in the country's liberation by self-proclaimed President Juan Guaidó. Behind him, the United States, of course. This sting operation was tight and spread much beyond Venezuela's borders. It reached American intelligence and, of course, the American government, which bought the fake intel fed by Caracas and Moscow at face value. Well, as a result, America got punked by Vladimir Putin and his allies yet again. As of now, Nicolás Maduro and the loyalists have a map with the precise location of all individuals in the Venezuelan state at the service of the United States, or at the least, willing to be. If that is the case, then Maduro also emulated mutatis mutandis, former Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein, who not only did not spend 2 consecutive nights at the same location, on the same bed, but also used to submit high-ranking officials and even members of his personal guard to sting operations. These individuals would be woken up in the middle of the night with false reports that Hussein had been killed in a coup and were invited to also take part in this revolution. Well, we can only guess what actually happened to those who joined these staged coups, right? But heading back to Venezuela, now what? Well, we have to wait to see what President Nicolás Maduro will do with the names he has on this blacklist this successful sting operation provided. Will Maduro follow Erdogan's footsteps and purge the Venezuelan state of individuals following US command? Well, not clear at this point in time. Some believe Maduro not to be as bold as Erdogan. We'll really have to wait to see what comes next in Caracas. But what we do get confirmed by this week's events is that the Americans are not the only ones who know how to carry out so-called hybrid or fourth-generation warfare. In fact, it seems they are just beaten by the Russians in it. Yet again. We also got in touch this week with Pepe Escobar, the seasoned international correspondent, who confirmed the accuracy of our hypothesis. This is what Escobar had to say. Quote, "Spot on. Russian intelligence had it all mapped out. I got confirmation of this by some of the best sources I have at GRU, the Russian Intelligence Directorate. You guys at Duplo Expresso are doing an outstanding job. End of quote. Well, thank you, Pepe. We'll certainly do our best not to let you and the rest of our viewers down. And now we'll have Wellington Calasans showing us how the Labor Day demonstrations were at Stockholm City Center. Wellington?
Hi, Romulus. I met here many people from Brazil, and let's try to talk a little bit with some from Brazil. I'm here from side by side with Marcelo. Marcelo is from Brazil and living here in Sweden for many years. Marcelo, why this moment is important for shout for Lula free?
It's because it's time to protect our democracy. In Brazil, right now, have a law is different from Lula and for others. So, Lula livre today, free Lula is a protection of our democracy. It's unthinkable that after 7 months in jail, finally the justice in Brazil allowed finally Lula giving an interview, which makes me impressed outside Brazil because it was abroad in many places. The Guardian, in many, it was front page of many journals around the world, but it was we couldn't see anything about the interview of Lula in prison in the great media in Brazil, which show clearly that there is an interest of the powerful people in Brazil to silence Lula. Especially in this period of time, they are facing the worst period of time in our history. So, allowed Lula be free is allowed to return Brazil to democracy. Because right now, everything that is associated with human rights protected by our law is being ignored exceptionally for Lula, which is clear evidence you are not follow our law. And STF should take care of it, because that's the constitutional role of this Supreme Court in Brazil. So respect, they take immediate action and to make the law works. That's the whole point. Like for any other Brazilian. And Lula is not different for any of us.
Thank you very much, Marcelo. Marcelo is a scientist and works here in Karolinska Institutet in Sweden. And let's try to talk a little bit more with other Brazilian. This is my colleague. He is Rafael Franco, is journalist as well and lives here in Sweden. Rafael, this is a very important moment for shout to Lula livre.
Yeah, this is a very important moment. We in Brazil now are living a lack of democracy. We have our previous president in prison without any real facts that can prove that he made something. That means it's a political prisoner, and now it's 1 year he's been there, and was for the first time he could talk to the press. It's a lack of democracy in Brazil right now, and it's very important that we demonstrate and talk about it, because it's not acceptable to a country that it says it's a democracy do things like that with people, with public personalities. This election was a fraud because he was to be elected if he was in the rails, and was put it out by political pressures in the justice. So free Lula now.
Hey, we are here in the Square Medborgarplatsen with the Vänsterpartiet, the demonstration of the Vänsterpartiet, and we are soon going to start the demonstration. the 1st of May demonstration. The group of Brazilians against the coup and for democracy, we are here, and we have all the information about Lula Livre and Free Lula, and against the coup and against Bolsonaro. We gather here, and soon we are start singing and celebrating the 1st of May together with the Swedish from all different groups from the left. Yeah, you can see here a lot of flags, a lot of different countries that are also here. The Brazilians are part of the Brazilians. Mostra o cartazinho. We have to take action to get the democracy back in Brazil. And Free Lula is part of that struggle. We have to free Lula to start to work back the democracy in Brazil.
Thank you, Wellington. And now we'll have our political commentator, Samuel Gomes, talking about Labor Day, the 1st of May, in Brazil.
Let's talk a little bit about Brazil. How about Workers' Day in Brazil? In a country beset by unemployment, deindustrialization, the return of misery and hunger, by a never-imagined loss of national sovereignty, by selling its strategic enterprises, and by the relentlessly attack to the giant oil company Petrobras to steal the Brazilian petroleum. What is to be celebrated this May 1st in Brazil? What to celebrate in a country that was a promise and a good example of intelligence in international relations during the Lula's administration, with the BRICS strategic association with Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and UNASUR, South American strategic bloc created in response to the reactivation of the United States Fourth War Fleet after the discovery of gigantic oil reserves in the Brazilian pre-salt. And now, under the command of an army captain, under the tutelage of international financial capital, Brazil behaves like a servant of the imperialist United States war machine. What to celebrate? Little or almost nothing? Maybe not. May 1st, the Workers' International Day, was not born as a party, neither to be a party, but as a struggle for dignified life. On May 1st, 1886, thousands of industrialized Chicago workers took the streets in the context of a major general strike in the United States, among other demands, striving to reduce the workday from 13 to 8 hours. The days that follow were marked by street confrontations between workers and police officers. In one such attack, 12 workers were killed and many others injured. The Second International Socialist meeting in Paris on June 20, 1889, marked May 1st as International Workers' Day. On May 1st, 2019 in Brazil, for the first time, all the trade unions, centrals, and all social movements united in a single manifestation. It's the need, faced with government measures that threaten the financial survival of labor unions, they have no other path than the union. And this May 1st demonstration will also be present the great majority of left-wing parties and the own mayor of São Paulo, affiliated to a center-right party, the so-called PSDB. This incipient movement is neither despicable nor simple. It's pregnant with possibilities and contradictions, but may be a first step. After all, the solution of the problems of Brazil and Latin America will not come, first of all, from the economy, but from politics. The current politics destroys national sovereignty, and the politics we need builds national sovereignty. And the politics we need in Brazil, as in all Latin America, has always been called revolutionary nationalism. Today, more than ever before.
Duplo Expresso will be back next week with more news and analysis about Brazil. Thank you for watching us and goodbye. Thank you, Romulus Maia.
Thank you, Wellington, and thank you, viewers, for joining us once again. We certainly hope to have you back next week. And now, Duplo Expresso's Song of the Month, The Future Without Pain, O Futuro Sem Dor, with lyrics by our very own Wellington Calasans and music by Leonardo Lobo. Thank you and goodbye.
Como se fim do mundo fosse. Fogem do debate como o da cruz. Fogem do debate como o da cruz. Fogem do debate como o da cruz. O anjo do mal. Futuro sem dor. Debater o que vem depois. Basta ser o futuro sem dor. O futuro sem dor. debate como o da Cruz. Fogem do debate como o da Cruz. Fogem do debate como o da Cruz. O anjo do mal. Debater o que vem depois. Faz nascer o futuro sem dor.
Duplo Expresso.